Yeah, Jim, that's a lot to think about. You know that I mean I'm really humbled by that, and you know also the fact that my family is all part of it, and they're saying that no one will ever wear 52 again, and not only that, but it will be in some lofty company. Uh, I'm just having fun tonight. I'm just enjoying it, and I think months later it will hit me the true significance of it all.
How emotional are you right now?
I'm pretty emotional right now, and I think um, at halftime during the ceremony, I really don't know what to expect, uh, but I'm very emotional right now.
Didn't you expect this to happen though?
Well,
Didn't you expect to have your jersey retired? I mean,
yeah, I did. I'm glad it happened while I'm still alive.
You were always a great player, but you were sort of in the background. Now you're full-fledged center stage, Hall of Fame tonight, other jersey retirement. What's it like for you to be in front? Is it uncomfortable or is it just different?
It's different. I was always, I prided myself on winning, and I learned at a very young age you can debate who the best player was or wasn't, but you can't debate who won or lost. And so that's where my priorities went, and I played with some pretty pretty good players along the way. Uh, and I like to think that they made me better, and I made them better because I was able to adapt to different situations, uh, and I was a good influence in the locker room. But it is different being front and center. I mean, really front and center, going forward for the rest of my life.
Well, once you had the highest honor in your sport to be in the Hall of Fame, and yet you still seem worked up for this honor as well. I'm just wondering how you go from the highest honor to still feeling very emotional about this night.
Well, this is pretty high, AJ. I mean, Elgin Baylor, Jerry West, Wilt Chamberlain. I mean, these guys, they're all in the Hall of Fame, number one, but I think it says a lot about the Laker tradition um, that, I mean, they've had some awesome basketball players, and now I'm one of them. And that, kind of what Joe said, being front and center, and now I look in the mirror and I go, wow. Uh, it's cool and yet it's emotional for me.
The fact that it's all been taking place for a whole year, the Hall of Fame, this ceremony in UCLA, how have you processed it just happening at once?
Well, that's a good point. It's been a year-long process, and it's still not over yet. And uh, at Pauley Pavilion, they have my face all over the place. That wouldn't be the case had I not been in the Hall of Fame. So it's and then the time that's elapsed. I mean, I kind of got used to being a private citizen of, and now I'm front and center. But I think the fact that it is a year-long merry-go-round makes it more special for me.
Well, the '82 Lakers were a really special team, and being able to basically run teams off the court when you guys wanted to. What was it like to play on that team? And was that the best team you ever played on, or is there another one that you thought was?
It's hard to say what the best team was. Playing for the Lakers was just great. I mean, from top to bottom, they had the leadership, the organization, from Dr. Buss to Bill Sharman, Jerry West, Pat Riley, and then the players. And we had a real sense of pride in our team success. And of course we had issues, going on all the time, undercurrents, but we never let it get in the way of our objective, which was to be the best in the NBA and to represent the city of LA as best as we could. And but that '82 team was a great team. I mean, again, we had guys that practiced, and our objective was to get the ball up in 3 seconds. And it, you know, it was just so very special.
Then you played on one of the most unlikeliest world champions in '75 with the Golden State Warriors your first year. What was that like?
That was really a trip. Coming from UCLA, where we were expected to win, had the dominating center, to Golden State. We weren't even supposed to finish like 5th or 6th in our division. And, you know, I didn't start the first 8 or 10 games, and you know, I was playing a lot and playing well. I played power forward, and there was a lot of controversy. Could I survive the rigors of the NBA? And I played opposite Rick Barry, and I learned so much from Rick Barry and Clifford Ray, but it was very different being the underdog. You know, even with the Lakers, we had great players. We were expected to win, and that was the challenge, and we were very fortunate to win a lot. But with that Golden State team, we were the underdog, and even after we won it all, people still didn't believe it. So we got a lot of joy out of that, and we kind of, being the underdog, we kind of bonded as it was us against the rest of the world, and that was our mentality, and that was our thought process. But that was a very different team for me, and I mean, who would ever thought you'd win the championship? You know, your first year, and sweep the Bullets at that. And they had owned us during the regular season. But to tell you how bad it was, the Oakland Arena, they had rented it out for, I think, a ice skating show or something. We had to play in the old Cow Palace in San Francisco. That was kind of the level of respect that we had. No one thought we would ever get there.
Jamaal, you mentioned the great players you played with, and then also, I guess, the issues that you had that you put at bay for the good of the team. So that in mind, what would be your message to this current group of Lakers and what season they're going through?
Well, my message would be 5, 10 years from now, whatever you feel now, 5, 10 years from now, you're going to look back and feel differently. And that you know, they have a great opportunity, and I would just encourage them to do whatever it takes. I mean, if you got to, you know, learn how to play differently or whatever, do whatever it takes to help this team be as successful as they can be, because ultimately that will be their legacy.
You have a speech for tonight, or are you just going to wing it?
That's a good question, Jim. I wrote down some thoughts, but I kind of have an idea of what I'm going to say, but I also left it open to just go with the moment.
Your whole family here?
Yes, sir. Mm-hmm.
What skills do you pride yourself on, that the skills that help you make it to the Hall of Fame?
Winning, being adaptable, like at Golden State, going from UCLA to Golden State to the Lakers, where you had Bill Walton, then you had Clifford Ray, George Johnson. Good centers, but not Walton or Jabbar. So I handled the ball more. Then I come to LA, and I got to learn how to play without the ball. And then, of course, we have great guards and Magic, Norm, and Coop. And so and I think being adaptable, I made it easier for the guys I played with. I think I had decent hands, good hands, and I had pretty good feet. You know, I knew how to move my feet, good balance.
Where did that style of shot come from that was one of the most unorthodox things we've ever seen?
Came straight from the playgrounds, Jim. When I was 11, 12, I was a pretty good basketball player in a little town, Ventura, north of here, which is a real basketball crazy. And I began playing with older guys. And I was going from the 9-foot to the 10-foot hoop, and of course they wanted to play on the 10-foot hoops, and they would block my shot every single time. And so most kids start with that sidewind. I would just learn how to hold it back there to the last minute, and I never realized I was doing anything different till I got to UCLA. And even then, I wasn't sure I was doing something different. Coach Wooden called me over one day after practice early in my sophomore year and said, "Come here, Keith. let me say you shoot that ball. I want you to shoot some shots around the key. And I was really confused by that and also terrified because, you didn't want the man calling you out about anything, especially in front of the other guys. And so I did what he said, and he said he would rebound for me. Well, that really confused me. I thought he was going to call one of the other players to rebound for me. And what I remember about that, every pass was just perfect. And I said, I could get used to playing with this guy. And I was drilling it because, my manhood, my credibility, everything was on the line, I felt at that moment. And so then he called me back and said, okay, how did you shoot that again? And I was really like, you just saw me shoot 40, 50 shots, right? I said, okay, well, I go like this, I go like that. And then he said, well, does it leave your fingertips with this, and he did the ball like that. And I thought about it, and I said, well, yeah, Coach. And he said, okay, you're dismissed. And so years later, we laughed about it. He said he thought about changing it, but my setup and my finish, he thought was textbook, and whatever happened in between, he decided to leave it alone, and I'm so glad he did.
Speaking of John, I'm sure you probably wish he could be here today. If he were here, what would you like to say to him?
Well, I would have said it to him already. We would have been talking earlier in the week or earlier in the day, but I would just thank him for, what he meant in my life personally and what he meant to all of us. And from the basketball point of view, in my opinion, he was just a genius how he taught the game. I played power forward my first 3 years in the league. The only way I could do that was by understanding certain nuances about the game against bigger guys and learning how to emphasize what I did well versus what I didn't do well. So I would thank him for that. And I would also thank him for the philosophy that I think about all the time and for different reasons and different things. And just thank him for being committed to teaching young people. And that's what he saw his first mission was being a teacher. And for a young guy in L.A., he was kind of corny, but he really believed it, and I thank God for him.
You and Magic used to have that play. It seemed like once a game you get open right in front of the hoop and you fire a bullet pass right down the middle. How did that come about, and how did you get so open all the time right in front of the basket?
Yeah, when you got Kareem and Magic, a lot of things work, but Magic, as we all know, was just unbelievable. And, I would come off that curl or fade to the baseline, and we knew that throughout the game, when they got burned there, that they would start getting itchy to get out and play that jump shot or the curl. And instinctively, it wasn't anything we talked about. It was just something that we all tuned into. Spiritually, we just knew it would be there. And I learned early on with Magic to watch him all the time because, he could see over the defense, and with most point guards, he could make passes other point guards couldn't. And so we had our little understanding early on in training camp when Coach Westhead yelled at him for an errant pass, and the next time he hit me in the head with the ball. I figured out I'm going to watch this guy all the time. But I knew it was going to be there, and he knew I was going to be there. And we had a lot of success with that play. Yeah.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.